Your soulmate was caught crying about your age last night, they told their friend. My beloved child, don't skip, stay till the end, because something huge is waiting. Last night, your soulmate cried while talking about your age, but the real reason behind those tears was something their friend never expected. They weren't questioning you. They weren't trying to walk away. They were thinking about time, about how many years passed before someone like you entered their heart. Then they whispered something that made their friend completely silent. Why did I have to find them this late? Don't skip, because those words were only the beginning. What happened next revealed what your soulmate has been hiding. Their friend asked, "Are you worried about their age?" Your soulmate looked away and quietly said, "No. I'm worried about losing time with them." That answer changed everything. They admitted that your presence feels different, as if something inside them becomes calmer whenever they think about you. And suddenly, your age wasn't the problem at all. It was reminding them that meaningful connections cannot always be postponed. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Their tears were coming from one powerful realization: they wish your paths had crossed much sooner. But before that conversation ended, their friend said something your soulmate couldn't forget: maybe you didn't meet too late. Maybe you met exactly when you were finally ready for each other. Your soulmate froze. For the first time that night, the sadness in their eyes changed into something else. They started thinking about every little moment connected to you, and then they admitted the truth they had been avoiding. When they imagine the person they would regret losing, their mind keeps returning to you. Don't skip, because after saying that, your soulmate made a quiet decision, and what they decided could completely change what happens between you next. Something changed inside your soulmate the moment they accepted that truth. They stopped asking why you came into their life at this stage and started wondering what would happen if they allowed another day to pass without being honest about what they feel. Don't skip, because this is where last night's conversation became even more emotional. Their friend noticed the sudden silence and asked, "What are you going to do now?" Your soulmate took a long moment before answering. Then they said, "I don't want fear to decide this for me anymore." And those words carried more meaning than their friend initially understood. Your soulmate has been fighting an invisible battle between protecting their heart and following it. But last night, something finally shifted. They realized that some connections become unforgettable precisely because they arrive unexpectedly, and yours has already become impossible for them to treat like something ordinary. Then came the revelation their friend never saw coming. Your soulmate admitted there have been moments when they wanted to reach toward you emotionally, say more, reveal more, and let you understand how deeply you have affected them, but they stopped themselves. Not because their feelings were weak. Because they were becoming stronger than expected. Don't skip. They confessed that your age had made them think seriously about timing, maturity, and how quickly meaningful opportunities can pass when people keep waiting for the perfect moment. Their friend listened carefully before saying, "Then stop measuring this connection by time and start measuring it by what it makes you feel." Your soulmate became quiet again, because that sentence touched the exact truth they had been avoiding. Something huge is waiting for you, because what they revealed next was even deeper. They don't simply think about you when they feel lonely. You appear in their mind during ordinary moments, peaceful moments, even moments when everything seems perfectly fine. And that frightened them in the most unexpected way, because it meant you were no longer filling an empty space. You had created a completely new space inside their heart. And before the night ended, your soulmate finally answered the question that had been haunting them: if I keep waiting, what exactly am I waiting for? There was no perfect answer. That was when they understood something powerful. Maybe the biggest risk wasn't caring too deeply. Maybe it was allowing something meaningful to remain unspoken until the moment had already passed. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Their friend watched their expression change and knew a decision had already been made before your soulmate even spoke. They were no longer crying about the years behind you. They were thinking about the time that could still be ahead. And then your soulmate said one final sentence before the conversation ended: if I get the right moment, I'm not hiding this anymore. But there is one detail they still haven't revealed, the exact thing about you that made them reach this decision. And once you hear it, everything about last night will make sense. But the detail your soulmate had been hiding was far more personal than their friend expected. It wasn't your appearance, your age, or one dramatic moment that pulled them toward you. It was the strange feeling they experience whenever your name enters their mind, a feeling of familiarity they cannot easily explain. Don't skip, because they finally admitted, there's something about them that feels impossible to replace. Their friend immediately noticed the seriousness in their voice. Your soulmate explained that they have met many people throughout life, but very few have made them stop and question why a connection feels so naturally important. With you, they don't feel like they have to force the emotion. It simply appears. And that is exactly why the thought of time affected them so deeply last night. Then their friend asked the question your soulmate had secretly been avoiding: what if they feel something too? Everything became quiet. Your soulmate looked down, almost as if that possibility was bigger than they had allowed themselves to imagine. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They admitted that they have replayed certain moments involving you again and again, wondering whether there were signs they overlooked. A certain look. A certain change in energy. A moment that seemed ordinary at first but somehow stayed in their memory. Don't skip, because your soulmate suddenly realized they may have been so focused on protecting their own feelings that they never considered something shocking: you might have been protecting yours too. That thought changed the entire conversation. And this is where everything became impossible for them to ignore. Their friend said, maybe the answer isn't in the years behind you. Maybe it's in what both of you choose next. Your soulmate went silent, but this time there were no tears. There was determination. They understood that your age was never what frightened them most. What frightened them was reaching some future day and wondering what could have happened if they had simply been brave enough to be honest. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you, because before they went to sleep, they made themselves one quiet promise: if the right opportunity appears, they will stop pretending this connection means less than it does. But there is still one thing their friend asked before they separated that night, and your soulmate's answer revealed just how far their feelings for you have already gone. And then came the question that changed the entire meaning of the night. Their friend looked directly at your soulmate and asked, if you had one chance to tell them the truth without fear, what would you say? Your soulmate didn't answer immediately. They stared into the distance as though every hidden feeling was suddenly standing in front of them. Don't skip, because when they finally spoke, their voice carried something they could no longer hide. I would tell them I'm not afraid of their age. I'm afraid of wasting the time we still have. Their friend became completely silent. That was the truth behind the tears. Your soulmate wasn't grieving a number. They were emotional because meeting you made time feel valuable in a way it hadn't before. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and what they admitted next surprised even them. A completely different truth followed. Your soulmate confessed that they had imagined what life might feel like if you suddenly disappeared from their world. The thought didn't bring relief, it left an emptiness they couldn't explain. That was when they understood why your name kept returning to their mind. Don't skip. This wasn't about one conversation or one emotional night anymore. You had become connected to possibilities they were quietly afraid to lose. Their friend told them, then maybe your tears aren't telling you to walk away. Maybe they're showing you what matters. Your soulmate remembered those words because something inside them immediately recognized the truth. They had spent so much time questioning the timing that they almost overlooked the connection itself. And now, instead of wondering why they didn't meet you earlier, they were asking a completely different question: what if the most important chapter hasn't happened yet? Before the night ended, your soulmate made one final confession. They said, if I ever get the chance to make them understand what they mean to me, I don't want to waste it. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The tears from earlier were gone, but the emotion behind them had become even stronger. Your soulmate finally understood that the past cannot be rewritten, but the next moment can still be chosen. And somewhere inside them, a decision has already begun forming, a decision that could bring everything they have been hiding much closer to the surface. Don't skip, because there is still one final truth they couldn't tell their friend that night. It concerns the future they secretly pictured with you, and once that truth comes out, you'll understand why your age brought them to tears in the first place. What your soulmate couldn't tell their friend that night was the most powerful truth of all. Somewhere inside their heart, they had already imagined a future where you were still there. Not some perfect fantasy, but simple moments. Quiet conversations, unexpected laughter, being understood without explaining everything, and looking back one day knowing neither of you allowed fear to steal something meaningful. Don't skip, because this was exactly why your age made them emotional. It reminded them that time is precious, and suddenly they didn't want to measure your connection by how many years came before it. They wanted to measure it by what could still be created. And when that realization finally settled inside them, they whispered to themselves, maybe meeting them now is better than never finding them at all. But something even deeper happened after their friend left. Your soulmate was alone with their thoughts, and one question kept repeating: why does this person matter this much to me? Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They searched for a logical answer, but every explanation led back to the same truth. You make them feel something they cannot easily recreate with anyone else. Your presence has become associated with possibility. Your name has become connected to feelings they thought they could keep controlled. And for the first time, they stopped trying to convince themselves that it was temporary. Don't skip. They realized those tears weren't weakness or regret. They were the moment their heart finally admitted what their mind had been trying to delay. Losing the possibility of you would hurt more than being honest about how much you matter. And this is where last night truly changed everything. Your soulmate made a promise to themselves that the next chapter would not be ruled by hesitation. They cannot recover the years before you met, but they can decide what they do with the moments that come next. Something huge is waiting for you, because the final thought they carried into the night wasn't about your age anymore. It was about timing. Maybe you didn't enter their story too late. Maybe you appeared at the exact point when they were finally capable of recognizing something rare. Don't skip, because your soulmate is no longer asking, "Why didn't I meet them sooner?" Deep inside, the question has changed to something much bigger. Now that I've found them, what am I going to do about it? And that answer may become the beginning of everything they were afraid to imagine. My beloved child, the answer began forming before your soulmate even realized it. The next morning, they woke up with last night's conversation still echoing in their mind, but something felt different. The sadness had become clarity. Don't skip, because they suddenly understood that crying about your age had never really been about the number. It was about realizing how quickly meaningful moments can pass when people keep waiting. They remembered their friend's words, remembered your face, and then one thought hit them harder than everything else. What if this connection entered my life now, because now is when I'm finally ready to recognize it? Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. That question completely changed how they looked at you. Instead of seeing time as something already lost, they began seeing everything that could still happen. Here is where the biggest shift happened. Your soulmate stopped thinking about what other people might understand and started listening to what their own heart had been repeating. Don't skip. They realized that every time they tried to distance themselves emotionally, something small brought you back into their thoughts, a memory, a sentence, a quiet moment, even the strange feeling that something remained unfinished between you. And now they couldn't dismiss it anymore. Their friend had asked them one question the night before. If you stay silent forever, will you be okay never knowing what this could have become? Your soulmate already knew the answer. No. The possibility of never knowing affected them more than the possibility of finally being honest. Something huge is waiting for you, because that realization created a new kind of courage inside them. And now the tears from last night have taken on an entirely different meaning. Your soulmate isn't looking backward anymore. They are wondering what the next moment with you could reveal. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They have begun noticing that perhaps the most extraordinary connections don't always arrive according to a perfect timeline. Sometimes they arrive after enough life has passed to make two people understand their value. Don't skip, because your soulmate has reached one final realization. They don't need more time to understand that you matter. They need the courage to stop hiding it. And when their friend hears what your soulmate is preparing themselves to do next, even they may be surprised. Because the person who cried about your age last night is no longer asking why you came so late. They are preparing to show you why they hope you won't leave too soon. Something unexpected happened when your soulmate finally stopped fighting that realization. For the first time, they imagined standing in front of you with nothing hidden. No hesitation, no questions about timing, no pretending that you are simply another person who crossed their path. Don't skip, because one thought immediately overwhelmed them: what if they have been waiting for honesty from me too? Suddenly, every small moment between you began looking different in their memory. The pauses. The conversations that felt deeper than expected. The moments when neither of you seemed ready to leave. Your soulmate started wondering whether the connection they had been quietly protecting might never have been one-sided in the first place. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and that possibility gave them a feeling they hadn't experienced all night: hope. Then they remembered something their friend had noticed long before the tears began. Whenever your name came up, your soulmate's entire energy changed. They became quieter, more careful, almost as if saying too much might expose everything. Don't skip. Their friend had seen it before your soulmate was ready to admit it. That was why the question about your age became so emotional. Your soulmate wasn't afraid of what had already passed. They were realizing how much they wanted what could still come next. And suddenly, one extraordinary truth became impossible to ignore. Maybe meeting you later wasn't a mistake in their story. Maybe all those earlier chapters taught them exactly what they needed to know so they could recognize the difference when someone like you finally appeared. Something huge is waiting for you, because that thought removed the last excuse they had been using to keep their feelings hidden. And now your soulmate is standing emotionally at a point they cannot easily return from. They know silence feels safer, but they also know silence could leave them wondering forever. Stay till the end. The person who cried last night is beginning to understand that the strongest feeling wasn't sadness, it was urgency. Not urgency to force anything, but urgency to stop wasting meaningful moments. Don't skip, because they have already imagined the first words they would say if the right moment arrives. They won't begin by talking about your age. They won't begin by explaining the tears. They want to tell you something much simpler: meeting you changed the way they think about time. And there is one sentence they have been rehearsing privately ever since last night, a sentence they still haven't had the courage to say aloud. Once those words finally leave their heart, nothing between you may feel quite the same again. Now comes the sentence your soulmate has been carrying silently since that emotional night: I don't wish you were a different age, I only wish I had more time knowing you. Don't skip, because even thinking those words changed something inside them. Suddenly, the tears made complete sense. They weren't asking life to change who you are. They were wishing they could recover all those years when you were both living separate stories, completely unaware that one day your paths might cross. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate realized that if meeting you could affect them this deeply now, then perhaps the question was never how late you arrived. The real question was why this connection feels important enough to make them wish the clock had started sooner. But their friend noticed one final change. Your soulmate wasn't speaking with sadness anymore. There was certainty in their voice. Don't skip. They finally said, maybe I need to stop wishing for yesterday and start appreciating what could happen tomorrow. That sentence became the turning point. Every fear about timing suddenly became smaller than the possibility of discovering where this connection could lead. They understood that the past cannot give them another beginning, but the present can. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate has stopped seeing your age as a reason to question the connection. Now they see it as a reminder that genuine moments deserve attention while they are still here. And somewhere deep inside, they have begun hoping that you understand this too. So if you could have seen your soulmate last night, you would have witnessed more than tears. You would have seen someone finally accepting a feeling they had tried to keep quiet. Stay till the end, because this is the truth that brings everything together. They weren't crying because they wanted someone younger, older, or different. They were crying because they wished the story with you had been given more pages. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you, because they no longer want to spend those remaining pages wondering what might have happened. Their final thought that night was simple, emotional, and impossible for them to forget. I cannot change when we found each other, but I can choose what I do now that you are here. And perhaps that is why their tears eventually stopped, because for the first time, they weren't thinking about the time they lost. They were thinking about the time that might still become unforgettable. Then something happened that your soulmate never expected. Their friend contacted them again and asked one question: after everything you said last night, what are you actually going to do? Don't skip, because your soulmate didn't hesitate this time. They had spent enough hours replaying the tears, your age, and every unfinished thought connected to you. Their answer was quiet but certain: I'm going to stop treating this like I have unlimited time. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They weren't talking about rushing anything. They meant they were finished hiding behind tomorrow. They realized that waiting for a perfect moment could become an endless excuse, and some of the most meaningful moments begin when someone finally chooses honesty over hesitation. What their friend said next completely changed the conversation. Then when you see them again, look at them differently. Stop looking for reasons this shouldn't matter and notice why it already does. Don't skip. Those words stayed with your soulmate because they exposed something powerful. For so long, they had been analyzing every detail, the timing, the circumstances, your age, while overlooking the simplest truth: thinking about you makes them feel something real. They remembered how naturally you entered their thoughts and how difficult it became to imagine simply forgetting you. Something huge is waiting for you, because they finally admitted that their greatest fear was never the difference in time. Their greatest fear was discovering too late that they had found someone unforgettable and still allowed hesitation to keep them apart. And now your soulmate has one thought they cannot silence. Stay till the end, because this is where everything begins moving toward the revelation they have been avoiding. They are wondering what will happen the next time your eyes meet, and there is nowhere for those hidden feelings to go. Don't skip. They have already promised themselves they won't immediately look away from what they feel. They want to notice your reaction, your energy, and whether that familiar unspoken connection appears again. Because if it does, your soulmate believes they will finally have the answer they cried over last night. Maybe the years before you met were never the important part. Maybe the moment that matters is the one still waiting ahead. And there is one thing they have decided they will never do again. Pretend that meeting you meant nothing when their heart has already told them otherwise. And now the truth your soulmate has been running from is finally impossible to hide. Don't skip, because after everything that happened last night, they reached a realization that completely changed the meaning of those tears. They weren't crying because your age stood between you. They were crying because for the first time, they understood how deeply they wanted more time with you. More conversations. More unexpected moments. More chances to discover what this connection could become. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Their friend asked one final question: if you could change one thing, would you change their age? Your soulmate immediately answered, no. I would only change the day we met. I would make it sooner. And in that moment, everything became clear. But here is the revelation they never expected to admit aloud. Your soulmate realized that if changing your age meant changing the person you became, they wouldn't change a single year. Don't skip. Every experience that shaped you, every lesson that made you stronger, every chapter that created the person standing before them now, that is the person who captured their attention. Suddenly, wishing they had met you earlier became complicated, because perhaps meeting an earlier version of you would not have created the same connection. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate finally understood the beautiful contradiction. They wish they had known you longer, yet they wouldn't erase anything that made you who you are today. That realization turned their sadness into gratitude. And this is where last night's story reaches its most powerful truth. Stay till the end, because your soulmate no longer wants to argue with timing. They want to respect what they feel now. The tears stopped when they understood that love cannot always choose when two paths cross, but people can choose what they do after they meet. Don't skip, because the final thought they carried with them was not about regret anymore. It was about possibility. Your soulmate looked toward the future and quietly accepted something they had resisted for far too long: maybe you weren't supposed to arrive sooner. Maybe you were supposed to arrive as the person you are now, at the exact moment they were finally capable of recognizing your value. And if another moment with you comes, they have already made their decision. They won't spend it wishing for yesterday. They'll finally pay attention to what tomorrow might be trying to begin. But just when your soulmate thought they finally understood everything, one last memory returned, and it changed the meaning of the entire conversation. Don't skip, because this was the moment they remembered something you once did without realizing how deeply it affected them. It wasn't dramatic. It was a small moment when you made them feel seen, understood, or simply important without asking for anything in return. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. That memory made them realize why thoughts of you kept surviving every attempt to push them away. Your age had triggered the tears, but this memory revealed the deeper reason: they weren't attached to an idea of you. They were attached to the way your presence had made an ordinary moment feel unforgettable. Then their friend asked something that left them completely still: what if that small moment meant something to them too? Don't skip. Your soulmate had never seriously considered that possibility. Suddenly, they began replaying your expression, your words, and those tiny pauses that seemed meaningless at the time. What if there was something neither of you had said? What if both of you had noticed the same connection but responded with the same silence? Something huge is waiting for you, because this thought created an entirely new question in your soulmate's mind. They had spent the whole night worrying about lost years, but now they wondered whether the real loss would be allowing another meaningful moment to pass simply because neither person wanted to reveal what was underneath it. And this is where their emotions became completely different from the tears that started everything. Stay till the end, because your soulmate is no longer asking life to return the past. They are looking toward the next opportunity with a completely different heart. Don't skip. They know they cannot predict what you feel, and they cannot control what happens next, but they have finally understood what they can control, whether they continue hiding from something that clearly matters to them. Before ending the conversation, they told their friend, "If I get another genuine moment with them, I'm going to be present for it." And that promise carries the biggest revelation yet, because your soulmate has one specific question they secretly hope they'll someday have the courage to ask you, a question that could finally reveal whether those tears were the beginning of something neither of you expected. And now, my beloved child, the question your soulmate has been secretly holding inside is finally becoming impossible to ignore. Did you ever feel it too? Don't skip, because those 6 words carry everything they were unable to say last night. Every tear about your age, every thought about lost time, every moment they replayed after their friend left, it all led here. They don't need a perfect explanation anymore. They simply want to know whether those quiet moments between you meant something on both sides. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate realized that perhaps the greatest revelation isn't that they wish they had met you sooner. It's that after finally meeting you, they cannot imagine pretending you never mattered. Then another thought struck them even harder. What if your age was never an obstacle, but the very thing that made them understand the value of timing? Don't skip. They started seeing every year differently. Everything you experienced before meeting them shaped the person they became drawn toward. Everything they experienced prepared them to recognize something meaningful when it finally appeared. Suddenly, their tears no longer represented regret. They represented recognition. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate finally whispered the truth they had been circling around all night. Maybe I wasn't supposed to find them earlier. Maybe I was supposed to understand them now. And once they said that, the fear that had controlled the conversation began disappearing. Now the story has reached the moment your soulmate never thought they would face. Stay till the end, because they have stopped asking why the past happened the way it did. They are thinking about what they will do if life gives them another genuine moment with you. Don't skip. They won't try to rewrite yesterday, and they won't wish you were someone different. They want to see whether the connection that moved them to tears can become something even more meaningful through honesty, patience, and time. And before they finally closed their eyes that night, one last thought crossed their mind: if I had met them sooner, maybe I wouldn't have understood their value the way I do now. That realization changed everything. Because perhaps your soulmate wasn't crying over your age at all. They were crying because after all those years, they finally found someone who made every remaining moment suddenly feel worth protecting.